But first, a bizarre scene in West Jacksonville tonight, where this video sent to us by Anthony Boyle catches the moment that officers caught up to an alleged armed robber following a high-speed car chase. On your side's Haley Harrison spoke to Boyle, who describes what it was like being caught in the middle of all that.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tells us that the suspect in the white vehicle hopped the median and crashed into the red truck, and two JSO officers pinned the suspect in with their vehicles. It's a sound Anthony Boyle says he'll never forget.
It's that steel impact of the two vehicles hitting each other. There's a few sounds that'll always kind of make your hair stand up on your arm. This was definitely one of them.
Boyle says being just feet away, he was able to see the blur of the white car before the impact.
I seen pieces of it flying 15 to 20 foot off the side of the road.
Video Boyle took on his cell phone shows JSO officers with guns drawn yelling commands and eventually arresting the suspect. The sheriff's office says around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon, officers quickly responded to an armed bank robbery in the 7700 block of 103rd Street, where the suspect took an undetermined amount of money from employees.
As the suspect was exiting the bank, patrol officers were arriving on scene, and the suspect entered a vehicle that the patrol officers immediately recognized as a car that had previously been reported stolen earlier in the day.
JSO spokesperson Cheyenne Snyder says officers then chased after the suspect in the white car westbound. The suspect was going in and out of oncoming traffic and shooting his gun at the pursuing JSO vehicles before crashing into the red truck in the eastbound lanes about 2 miles away.
The occupants of the pickup truck were a grandfather and his granddaughter. They were both transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, as was the suspect and one police officer. There were no injuries reported at the bank.
Charges for the suspect are pending. On the west side, I'm Haley Harrison, First Coast News. On your side.
Wow. Well, we have learned new details about a body found in Jacksonville. This morning, police were called to a home on Rainforest Drive North about a 40-year-old man in medical distress. Police say he later died at the hospital. We've learned a woman inside that home is now being questioned by JSO's homicide unit.